Welcome everybody. Good morning or good afternoon. And thanks for taking the time to join us today at the very first CTS Connect Lunch and Learn on our new virtual platform. My name is Phil Miller, and I'm Director of Technology for Comcast Technology Solutions, CTS. I'm going to talk today about a TV service launched at the end of 2019 in Greece using products and services from Comcast called Cosmote TV. While I go, please do use the form to ask your questions as I go along, and I will tackle as many as I can at the end of the presentation. So why Cosmote TV? Well, first of all, Cosmote TV is a great service. It's worth a look just as an example of good user-centric TV product design, but it also has a lot to teach about a successful pay TV product is built and launched, and how projects like this can be run to maximize the chance of success. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the service itself, the consumer offering, the content, the market position. I'll introduce the partners in the program, OTE, Deutsche Telekom, and Comcast Technology Solutions ourselves. I'm going to focus on some of the aspects of the project which I think were most critical in its success, in particular how the program of work was initially conceived and structured, and how that set the conditions for the success of the service in terms of its launch into the market. And finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about the bigger picture. What does Cosmote tell us about the process of digital transformation? What kinds of technical strategies or product strategies are pay TV operators betting on to stay competitive, stay relevant? And what does the future hold for a service like Cosmote? But first, I'm going to show a short video to introduce the service itself.
Χθες το απόγευμα που ήμασταν στο σπίτι του Κώστα, ο μπαμπάς του έφερε ένα καινούριο Cosmote TV. Κάνει τσακ τσακ και το συνδέει και μας λέει αυτό δεν το έχετε ξαναδεί. Και ήταν τέλειο. Ο Κώστας είπε έχει νίντζα. Και η αδελφή του είπε ησυχάνα με τους νίντζα. Και ο μπαμπάς είπε δεν πειράζει, ο καθένας έχει το δικό του τροφίλ. Κροφίλ. Το σοπάκι τέλος πάντων για να βλέπει τις δικές του σειρές. Και η μαμά είπε και στο υπνοδωμάτιο που δεν έχουμε κωδικοποιητή. Και ο μπαμπάς είπε στο Smart TV δεν χρειάζεσαι κωδικοποιητή. Και ό,τι δείχνει η τηλεόραση μπορείς να το ξαναβάλεις από την αρχή. Και τότε η μαμά έβαλε ντοκιμαντέρ και ο σκύλος άκουσε τις τίγρης και έκανε. Και η φίλη μου η Ρο μου είπε χθες το είχε ο πατέρας μου στο σπίτι και βλέπει και στο γραφείο. Αλλά μου είπε να μην το λέω. Και τώρα θέλω να το πάρουμε κι εμείς.
Η νέα Cosmote TV αλλάζει τα δεδομένα στην τηλεόραση και σου φέρνει κάτι μοναδικό, on demand και live TV μαζί σε μία προσωποποιημένη εμπειρία θέασης. Cosmote TV.
Αυτό δεν το έχεις ξαναδεί.
Cosmote. Ένας κόσμος καλύτερος για όλους.
So that commercial aired in February at the public launch of the service. And if your Greek is not up to the standard of mine, which is not very good at all, it's important to say that the theme of that commercial is very much around the convergence of live and on-demand, and also very much on some unique consumer-facing features of the service, personalization, multi-screen delivery, as well as the content offering. Cosmote TV is OTE Group's pay TV service. It's the market leader in Greece with more than 500,000 subscribers, and it's available over satellite, IPTV, and OTT. And what actually launched in December was a brand new consumer offering, so a new set-top box, full range of OTT applications on web, mobile, connected TVs, and behind it all, an entirely new video platform developed in partnership with CTS. And the reason I like that commercial, why I wanted to show it here, is I think it really captures the Cosmote and the OT brand values. So this is a premium service. It differentiates in its feature set, as I said. Personalization is very much at the center of the product, as well as the content offering. It's also a mainstream product. It's designed to have broad market appeal. And although it's essentially an OTT service, you can see that it is intended to provide the full main screen, lean back, living room TV experience. In terms of the content offering, OT have invested in premium rights as well as their own content. And this service carries 70 channels out of which 16 are own-produced Cosmote TV channels, sports, cinema, and history. They also have exclusive sport and cinema rights, and a lot of they're all original productions as well. So let's talk a little bit about the parties involved. And firstly, Comcast Technology Solutions, CTS. We're a division of Comcast Cable, and we provide products and services to the media and entertainment industry based on technology developed or licensed by Comcast itself and then used in our own consumer services. We have offices across North America and around the world, and we work with some of the biggest names in the TV industry, helping them to deliver premium consumer video experiences. We started working with OTE in early 2018. And OTE Group is the largest communications provider in the Greek market. And OTE defines itself very strongly as a service provider. It's not just a telco. It offers those services under the Cosmote brand, broadband, mobile, of course, pay TV. OTE itself is part of the Deutsche Telekom group of companies, and you'll see how that's also important in the context of this project as we go along. So let's have a look at the project itself. What was each party delivering? What were the business goals, and how are we going to measure success? Well, first and foremost, the brief was to deliver a fully functional OTT television service into the market. And as we saw from the commercial, this would include a brand new set-top box, as well as a range of OTT apps. As I said, the video platform itself, the video back office, was to be entirely replaced, as well as a delivery chain for the live and on-demand content. So that's encoding, packaging, encryption, CDN, everything that was going to go on-premise on OTE's network. The new service obviously had to be appealing to users. It had to be distinctive. It had to reflect those premium brand values that I was talking about. So OTE were going to take the opportunity to refresh the user experience and the branding and create something with a real splash in the market. And OTE were very clear in all of this that they wanted to select best of breed products and use them with minimal customization. And this is really in line with the first two primary goals for the project, to be able to push new product development into the market quicker and free up their business owners to be able to experiment, try new products and services. So to reduce the cost of change on the one side and to reduce the time it takes to return on the investment on the other. And that's also a big part of why Cosmote were prioritizing the OTT service and building this new independent platform. It means they could take an all IP, all software approach to the problem, learn their lessons, make their mistakes at a lower cost, and then apply those lessons to some of the slower moving, more investment heavy parts of their ecosystem later on. And there's a further goal which reflects OTE's position in the Deutsche Telekom group, as I was saying. OTE is just one of a number of operators in the group with various levels of pay TV product portfolio and technical expertise. And DT Europe had ambitions to use the Cosmote TV project as a proof of concept to align those operators and services around a common roadmap. So the service itself had to be templated, it had to be portable, and DT needed to know exactly how much of it was portable and how much effort would be required to adapt it to local markets, different business models, network infrastructure, maybe different content rights. And DT also needed to know exactly what the operators themselves needed to bring to the party, what skills, what business processes, what kind of internal support would be necessary to make this a success. So what about Comcast in all of this? Well, around about the time we started talking with OTE and Deutsche Telekom, we at CTS were already reviewing how we offered our products in the operator market. For some time, we'd offered a turnkey direct-to-consumer solution for VOD streaming services, so content providers or broadcasters with a VOD catalog who wanted to monetize it through subscriptions or maybe through advertising. And we wanted to extend this model to more complex use cases, especially for operators and content aggregators with different types of content, maybe different distribution channels, and often complex hybrid business models. And our approach was to take all of the cloud services which we already offered, so our video platform under the MPX brand, the live on-demand workflow components, the advertising platform, the Freewheel platform, which is our sister company in Comcast, and the business intelligence services, which are our newest product line. I take all of these components and create a default set of configurations for those products, which play nicely together and deliver the basic common use cases for an operator-grade pay TV system. So VOD catalogs, electronic program guides, DRM, catch-up TV, subscription management, basically the whole pay TV business. So we launched this solution at IBC last year under the heading of Cloud TV and with a simple promise: any content, any device, anywhere. Any content, live channels, live events, on-demand content in all its forms. Any device, OTT apps, connected TVs, set-top boxes and streaming sticks and other managed devices, and anywhere. So over the public internet as OTT or on private networks, which could be unicast, multicast IPTV, or even cable, even satellite. And all of this delivered software as a service from a single cloud-based multi-tenant platform. And then for the bits that we don't do, user interfaces, maybe user experience, private networking, that is private multicast or CDN distribution, all of the on-premise part of the ecosystem, encoders, packages, etc. For those pieces, we recruited technology partners who would integrate with our default architecture and give customers a menu of vendors that they could choose from. So for OTE, the modularity of this solution was particularly important because they already had themselves a lot of expertise in video delivery, and they wanted to keep their live and their on-demand workflows on their own infrastructure. They were going to build those new chains themselves in-house. So they needed a solution with the right integration points for them to plug in their own systems. So let's have a look at how that happened in practice. I talked about success factors in delivering this project, and I think the best way to illustrate OTE's approach is to look at the very beginning, and in this case, the very first few weeks and months. The OTE realized very early on that they needed to identify and de-risk the most critical parts of the solution. And for them, that was the live streaming workflow especially, where they were going to commit substantially in terms of effort as well as financially. And they needed to validate those decisions as quickly as possible. And to be honest, they also needed to win some hearts and minds in their business, generate some confidence in the whole program at an early stage. So OTE structured the project around the concept of a steel thread, focusing all the participants on delivering an end-to-end use case, in this case around acquiring content and delivering it into the user experience. And they kept laser focused on their priorities, and they kept a very tight control on scope, concentrating all of the moving parts around the concept of the minimum viable product. And it also helped that they embraced a lot of the agile principles that nowadays maybe we consider best practice in the digital domain. So iterative development, delivery, cross-functional teams, real-time communication. And they applied that across the whole program of work. So for example, that means in practice, all vendors and all the teams worked on a common sprint cycle. All the teams participated in planning, coordinating, setting targets for delivery, and all the teams assembled at the end of a sprint to review the business value that had been delivered. And they all communicated in real time, chat services, shared workspaces. And the results really do speak for themselves. The team delivered end-to-end working live and on-demand streams in 4 weeks. And that involved OT building brand new processing chains on their infrastructure. And from that baseline, OT were able to iterate, adding features according to their priority, changing direction if they needed to, and always they were able to measure exactly where they were in the process. Now, it's not to say the project didn't have its fair share of bumps on the road, but the fact that OT had set the culture of the team so early on, established that cycle, build, test, review, meant they were able to absorb those obstacles so much better. They always knew where they were, and they always knew what they had, and they knew that it worked. So what were the results, and what do we take away from the Cosmote experience? So I'll take you back really to those goals that we looked at that were set at the outset, about speed, about portability, about agility of the business. And I think the Cosmote example really validates the decision that OT made to launch the OTT service standalone. not just because of the quality of the product, which is great, also because of that culture of delivery. If you have good iterative delivery in development, then you have it in production as well. And also you have a team who knows how to follow that process. And that can really expedite the delivery of new features, even when your platform is out there in the market. OTE measured in some detail the effort and the components of the service, which would then be portable to other operators. They come up with a figure of about 70%. 70% of their technical effort, the components of their system, could be reused. And more importantly, they've been built in a way that allowed them to be replicated. They were packaged, they were repeatable. The components were virtualized, they were packaged in containers using standard tools. And then this gave Deutsche Telekom the confidence that this program could be a template for other operators in the group. And that's also important for us at CTS, as you can imagine. We set out to show that a multi-tenant SaaS platform could deliver the complexity of features, the complexity of business models that an operator needs, and at scale. And the Cosmote project gave us a lot of confidence that we were heading in the right direction. So I talked a lot about project delivery already. I can't stress enough how important it is to focus on the design and the setup of your project. The first 4 weeks really can set the tone and the culture that will persist for the lifetime of the program and beyond. It's important to make that effort right up front. Hold those all-hands discovery workshops at kickoff, even if you think that only 30 minutes are relevant to any individual group. Set your early milestones to be small, self-contained, achievable, and allow the project to generate its own momentum. And then always keep in mind that all of this good practice, the agility, the flexibility, the harmonization, this is all a means and not an end. The value of the platform's realized when you actually release new features, innovations of the product, innovations of the business model that you wouldn't otherwise have been able to do. So what does the future hold for Cosmote TV? Well, now they have their new platform in place, they can tackle their legacy system. Those 500,000 subscribers I talked about on their existing platform, they can bring those over into this new ecosystem to benefit from the new development of features and the new branding that they have. And with a modular, flexible platform, they can really take it in any direction. Maybe they want to focus on security. Maybe they want to protect those premium content rights, reduce the impact of piracy on the subscriber churn, for example. Maybe they want to focus on the UI, add new consumer features, try to reach new demographics, new market segments. Maybe they'll focus on the business model, try out some subscription models, variations, rentals, purchases, pay-per-view. The important thing is they've given themselves the freedom to choose and to try. As for Comcast, well, we're excited about some of the features that Cosmote TV pioneered, and we're able to add them now to the cloud TV solution for other customers. So earlier this year, we launched some deep personalization features, what we call consumer personas. And these are particularly relevant to those shared viewing experiences, set-top box, living room TV. And of course, we'll continue to iterate those consumer features, especially for operators, but also for other markets. And all the time, we're still looking for new opportunities, new pieces of original Comcast technology to bring to the wider industry. So that's really the end of my presentation. I hope you found it informative. I hope you learned something. I learned that I talk too much. I don't stick to my timings. But I think we have time to look at some questions. So I see a first question here is, can you explain how you support multicast delivery out of a cloud platform? Okay, that's a good question. So I should say, and maybe I didn't make it clear, that the Cosmote TV service is pure OTT. There's no multicast distribution involved. So OTE does have IPTV, but it wasn't in scope of this project. Having said that, we do support all flavors of connected set-top box, regardless of how they receive their live channels, IPTV, cable, maybe other distribution methods. We don't ever really need to touch the network. We don't really touch the multicast network or cable network, for example. There's really two integration points that matter for us in terms of controlling a pay TV service, the controlling the delivery of content. Firstly, we need to be able to tell devices how to tune to channels. So we can model tuning information for IPTV, for example, or cable channels. and we need to be able to give that metadata essentially to devices to tell them how to receive those channels. And the other point is content protection. So we need to, for example, tell a conditional access system who is allowed to watch a channel. So that when the tuning information goes to the box, they join the channel, then they're either allowed or denied. We do that already for DRM in the OTT space. We have our own DRM license servers. So we have a pattern that we can reuse and then integrate with like a conditional access system in a IPTV, maybe a cable head end. So I hope that answers the question about multicast, for example. We have a question about technology partners. You mentioned technology partners. Who are they? So a short answer, you can find a list of our technology partners on the partner page on our website. And we have many in various kind of aspects of the pay TV business. In this particular project, I guess the ones that are most important, those blue boxes on the architecture diagram you saw, around the OTT playout and the user experience. I won't talk in any detail about the particular technology partners working for OTE. I don't necessarily know how much of that is in the public domain. I can tell you that for playout, for example, we have integrations with a lot of the packaging and origin providers that you'd expect. So Elemental, Harmonic, Broadpeak, Unified Streaming, for example. And we have a kind of a standard pattern for integrating those, and we do for lots of customers. On user interface, which is quite interesting, we run a certification program. So we publish integration guides that explain how best to use our services to build user interfaces. And then we have a number of partners who basically have a certification stamp from CTS. But we publish those guides generally. So if customers are building their own user interface, or if they want to go and choose their own vendor, they can read those guides, they can get their vendors to sign up, or they can give them to their own internal development teams and make sure that they're following the roadmap, following best practice. You can see that our certified partners are people like Excedo, Diagonal, mostly active out in Asia, and there are a few others. They're on the website. Please do go and review that. Okay, I think that's the end of our questions. So that brings us to the end of the session. Once again, thank you very much for joining. I hope you found something new in there, something to take away. You can find details and register for more events like this one on the CTS Connects events calendar on our website. But please do reach out to me on the usual channels if you have any questions, comments, and especially any feedback on today's presentation. So once again, thank you for your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.